How do you track iOS on Facebook?
Wow, SCAD Network 4, right?
What do you think about misleading ads? They are often used in this genre.
How should I answer you correctly? Actually, this question is straight from my morning.
Today we will be discussing a wonderful game in the QSD studio. We have its director as our guest. Dmitry, please introduce yourself.
We have the head of the entire gaming division, Stanislav, as our guest. So Stanislav is waving at us. I am in charge of the marketing direction, and I think we will be happy to listen to you today.
Stanislav, tell us a bit about the company. What is happening and how are things going? How difficult is it to work there during the war?
Regarding whether it is difficult or not, of course, I think you understand that the main difficulty is related to staffing issues. It is hard for people to work.
It is hard for people to work. Of course, don't forget to subscribe, like, and please ask questions directly in the comments. Other experts or me will try to answer them as detailed as possible. Don't forget to share this video with friends and acquaintances.
During the war, most of the business audience is, of course, not here, so it doesn't affect them much, but everything related to delivery, of course, has many different problems, to put it briefly without going into details.
Thank you, Stas. Let's start traditionally with ASO. Vika, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone again. Let's share the screen right away. Actually, I will be brief today because I don't have many remarks. Let's start with Android. The rating is excellent, 4.5. The reviews on the wall are great. The description, if I'm not mistaken, is more than 2,000 characters, filled with the necessary keywords. There is some minor keyword stuffing, but I wouldn't pay attention to it. This is absolutely normal. All your main search queries that interest you, the essence and theme of the game, all correspond. The only thing is that in Android, everything I quickly gathered here is indexed, everything is good, just not everywhere in top positions. Here you need to work on increasing traffic or attracting motivation to pull them to the top and occupy the first positions. But from the ASO point of view, I have no remarks. If we talk about iOS applications, I had 2 points. Here not all semantics are ranked, not all keywords that might potentially interest us. I think this is because, firstly, not all locales are filled, at least the ones adjacent to the US, so if you couldn't fit everything into the locales you opened for availability, you just need to add a bit more to the locales and include the necessary search queries there. This will allow you to rank even higher, capture more languages, and consequently, our position will be slightly better even with the same positions, because you will start repeating the same search queries. In any case, the name might be similar or something else, which will strengthen the current situation. And I had one remark. The name is not written in 30 characters. Well, it's acceptable, it can be less than 30 characters, but as an option, you could slightly revise it, rewrite it to fill all available characters, because the name is the most important parameter that the market looks at for ranking your application. And maybe it's worth mixing the subtitle and slightly redoing it so that both have 30 characters, and your main keywords are directly in the titles and subtitles. The same goes for keywords, meaning there will be more traffic and more indexing because the keywords are specified. The only issue is the lack of traffic. There is ASO, it's the foundation, after which we need traffic. If any part of this falls through, the system doesn't work accordingly. ASO is done, but there's little traffic and positions don't appear. Working with iOS is much easier than with Android, so within 1-2 weeks we can actually adjust this whole situation. Therefore, we just need to attract more traffic to the US. You can try to use incentives to get these search queries and pull them to the top. So everything is classic from the ASO point of view, the same story there. Your rating here is 4.7, even better. The reviews are excellent, hanging on the wall. The screenshots are also interesting, at least to me. Minimal text and clear messages about what you want to convey, so... Of course, you could argue that I would recommend more screenshots, but again, it's a matter of preference. The most viewed are the first three. The first three are interesting, but when you have such a game, it is quite extensive and you have a lot to show, you can make great screenshots. That is, you can work on this and add, say, about 7 screenshots. But again, it's optional.
Vika, please tell us what is happening with games of this genre. How well do they promote using incentives?
Well, look, it depends on your budgets. If we have budgets, if your funnels are well developed and conversions are high, then incentives work really well for almost all themes. The exceptions would be more hyper-casual games which generally don't have search queries. So there are other brands. As for farming games, it's a complex niche, usually with very complex search queries, but again, not all of them. And the semantics are quite extensive. Even looking at iOS, we can see that you already have rankings for certain search queries, but I can't say they are very complex. So these indicators of 300, 100, 150, 400, daily traffic, these are not high indicators. These are the indicators that can be easily worked with. These are medium frequency search queries, pulling the app to the top, taking the first position, and staying there to get organic traffic. So it's not 3,000 queries per day where you would have to struggle. In this case, I would work with the app. I like it both visually and text-wise. The question is only about the budget. If there are budgets, if it pays off, if you have well-developed funnels, then why not? I do not recommend using incentives for apps that do not have search queries or are very broad. Here, there are specific target search queries, such as family farm, family village, which are all your niche, so you can work with them.
I am clarifying the question. Actually, if the thesis is clear, I want to know if there is any forecasting now, how much traffic we will get for how much money, at least in the format of CPI, etc. I understand that ASO is not about CPI. I know, I'm aware. But maybe we have reached the point in our evolution where we can forecast traffic to the store, or at least something. Because there is a budget, the question is what we spend it on and what we get.
Yes, actually you can roughly calculate everything, but it will indeed be approximate because we cannot guarantee all your conversions. The most correct option when you want to try incentives, if you really have budgets, I recommend launching search ads. You launch search ads, some semantics are formed, 10, 15, 20 keywords for which you have the best conversions, funnels, and the whole story. After that, you take these keywords and pull them with incentives. This is the most correct approach to incentives when we have a good budget. But, of course, search ads are very expensive for many, not everyone can afford it, so then we try exactly with incentives. We take 5, 10, 15 keywords, push them to the top, and see how the store reacts, whether the positions drop quickly or not, depending on the situation. But it can be forecasted, you do have an approximate number of queries per day for the keyword. Based on your conversions, we can calculate that conditionally, on the first position, well, in general, it can be calculated. It's not like we can't calculate anything and we just hope for the best, right? No, actually, all this can be calculated, we just need your metrics to understand what your conversion rate will be. Based on these metrics, we understand what we can expect, and that's it. With incentives, we give a specific detailed plan, how much to invest, on which day, to get into the top 3. So you have clearly outlined budgets, how much to spend on a particular search query to get into the top 3.
With incentives and this traffic, it's clear in principle. But another question, are there any benchmarks on the topic of how much money you will get for a certain number of installs in a specific niche or something like that? No, I will lead to this directly. I understand that it's all complicated and that we can't promise anything. But there is some experience, there are some previous projects, there is experience with the same incentives. Maybe there are some approximate estimates or at least budgets. Because when you say that budgets are needed, you need to understand what we are talking about. These are medium frequency keywords. So what are the budgets in general?
Everything depends on the search query, the country, and how your optimization is set up. So, you come to me and say, we have these and those keywords we want to get into the top. Tell me the cost, and I will form the costs for these keywords at the current moment.
The budget ranges from 0 to 1,000 approximately.
Good idea, but no. Okay, we can calculate. Let me roughly calculate for you because, in any case, you need to understand who is at the top among your competitors, where your keyword is located, because it affects the promotion.
In general, it's not as quick as we would like, so let's move on to Zoryana for now, and you calculate the budget for family farm.
Hello everyone again. Guys, I want to ask a standard question that I ask everyone. Have you already tried purchasing? On which networks did you buy? What came out of it?
The main source is Facebook now. There were experiments, of course, with Google Ads and, let's say, smaller traffic providers, and basically with gaming portals where we directly buy traffic. But in terms of volume to price ratio and quality of player behavior, Facebook currently gives the best result. And we really can't pull anything better from anywhere else. We also have a certain historical context, because the game was originally developed for Facebook, and we transferred the audience at some point, and then we continue to buy the audience through Facebook. We have strong ties with the Facebook community. We have a great department that works with the audience specifically on Facebook. So these things work together and give a cumulative effect. Therefore, our main workhorse now is Facebook.
Great, because we will also look at competitors further. I saw, jumping ahead, that they also partially use Facebook. Let's tell our viewers what types of campaigns you launched, how you managed to optimize them, and what the average CPI was.
Lastly, we are currently launching a lot of active tests, and the ad campaigns on Fit are showing very good results. They give the highest acquisition cost, well, let's say around $20, $25, for example. But the quality of this audience is really very high. It is very good. Because we have now set up audience behavior tracking. Basically, in the game, we know which levels they pass, where and how they pay, at what moment, how actively they play. So we set up this whole story quite recently. Finished. And Fit gives great results. Fit is really something. From what else we use that is interesting and works, well, basically how it works, and we test. Fully automatic settings. Like we give everything to Facebook and see what it does. We didn't really trust this before and avoided it a bit. But now, literally today's results, that is, on average across campaigns in general, auto projects give 30-40% lower cost. But I can't say what the audience behavior will be. We haven't studied these cohorts yet because it takes time for the cohort to live, play, and for us to draw some conclusions. So, preliminarily, everything that can be given automatically to Facebook should be given automatically to Facebook to do. It does it better than us. And if there is money to buy feed, you can buy feed. But it's very expensive. Basically, you can buy auto placement. It provides feed normally, and because of this, the price is half as much. But the quality of the audience is close to feed quality. That's our optimization story.
Great. I already see comments from our viewers. I think they will also be interested in this question. The game is fully in-app, as I understand, and that's quite normal for this game. Can you please tell me what the conversion rate of traffic to payment is?
For example, percentages.
Percentages, yes, I know approximately.
I would like it to be in the tens of percent, but no, and even better, hundreds of percent. That would be ideal and more beneficial.
Can I ask then, is it in the range of 2 to 4% or higher?
Well, roughly so. Actually, it depends on the type of traffic and the advertising campaign. Okay, let's be serious. From the same feed, you can get a higher pay-year percentage. If we take
Yes, I think somewhere around 6 to 8, and on average, if it's 5, that's okay.
I can't say, but I will say that you can get higher. And if you buy a pure audience network, it's trash that might not even reach 1%. But when we take auto placement, we get a mix. And it depends a lot on the month because we have certain seasonality in the game. It depends on what is happening at the moment with the first-time user experience. Because sometimes we pour in traffic and say, well, everything is great. For example, we didn't wait for the cohort to live for a month, but already at the stage of launching the advertising campaign, we try to understand how high quality this traffic is to balance it somehow. Although this is not entirely correct, we should wait until the end of the cohort, the end of the test. But that's not the point. And we see that the results are not very good. It turns out that we simply don't have the sweetest offers at the starting levels. Players just don't play through, and our pay-year percentage can be significantly higher and will be later. But at the stage we are at, where we are analyzing in the moment, players simply haven't played through to that point yet. Where the pay-year percentage increases due to higher quality offers. And this is, for example, a problem with the first-time user experience. And so when I mention some abstract average figures, they're very abstract.
The main curse of this project is that it is simply designed. And why did we decide that we need to take some directions, movements on all this? Because many decisions we try to implement for mobile break the main revenue on the web. And vice versa. In an ideal world, it might be possible to separate mobile from web and live a peaceful life, but there are internal problems that don't allow it to be done so easily. But the big problem, as Dima mentioned, is that we want to increase this conversion. There are many tools to increase it, but they break the current revenue on the web. At the same time, as strange as it may seem. So we need to consider this when we talk about it.
You will now discuss all the questions from my block, and I will have nothing to say.
I will ask one last technical question. We are moving to competitor creatives. All our viewers will be interested in how you track iOS on Facebook, because...
Oh, SCAD Network 4, right? Custom SCAD Network 4, I understand. New iOS, new privacy policy. Let me tell you about our methodology. It might actually be useful to someone. Besides having AppsFlyer, which actually provides a certain amount of data, somewhere between 20 to 40% of the data AppsFlyer provides matches reality. How do we proceed? We launch test campaigns. After the 7-day Facebook attribution window has passed, the standard one, we launch a test campaign. Only one type of campaign at a time. We run it as long as we need, then we close it. Now we have switched from custom SCAD network to the standard 4th version, basically the latest one, so that AppsFlyer handles this joy itself. And we look. Facebook tells us they delivered 1,000 installs. We go to AppsFlyer and check. AppsFlyer says Facebook delivered about 300 installs. But your organic installs increased by 600. And if not, where did the 600 organic installs come from? Wow. And when the campaign stopped, they somehow disappeared. Well, an unclear situation. Magic, absolutely. Then we calculate the delta, using the delta from AppsFlyer to estimate how many real users we approximately bought. It's always less than what Facebook says because Facebook has a different attribution system, which is not install-based but click-based attribution. And after that, our wonderful, very talented analyst came up with a sampling method. He takes from the audience that registered with us during the advertising campaign period, randomly marks from the unmarked AppsFlyer, randomly marks about 600 people as Facebook, and through this sampling we get a cohort close to reality. This allows us to make certain forecasts, work with predictive modeling and similar things, at least approximately. But you need to understand that if you have a lot of organic traffic, really a lot, significantly more than performance traffic, paid traffic, then it will be very difficult to work with the delta. But for now, we can afford it. Unfortunately, we don't have a solution. If you have a solution for this, please tell us. I would be very grateful.
Everyone is looking for a solution. It's a pity that no one has a proper one.
Well, we have reached this point so far.
Correctly noted, because you don't have much organic traffic on the project, you can afford to take a certain segment. Just one question, you still look at cohorts, right? And you just add this organic traffic that came to you through sampling to the cohort you are considering for that day. And how do you distribute it? Just for me to understand, you take, I don't know, N installs over a week, and you just add some number of installs from organic traffic to each day, right?
Yes. Yes, the number that will be the difference from what we usually had in organic traffic, and added to this, not just a random number, we know our average organic traffic. We know its average behavior. And we add this delta, this difference, but technically we don't merge it all into one cohort. They are still marked separately, and when we do a retrospective of our marketing tests, we say that this test gave such results, 100% of it belongs to this group, and it behaved like this, paid this much, and they had such an PP. But overall, considering the sampling, we think that yes, I agree. That's why I noted that if there was a lot of organic traffic, this method wouldn't work for us.
And do you do this regardless of the countries, or do you have more or less the same country? No.
No, for simplicity, we buy one country at a time, but actually AppsFlyer and our own BD help us a bit here because our product provides data by GEO, and AppsFlyer gives us certain data by GEO, so it's a bit easier with GEO. But to still reduce inaccuracy, we try to buy not just in one country, we have groups of countries. We have some countries that go individually, and some that go in groups. For example, we have Tier 1 Europe, conditionally Tier 2 Europe, Europe 1, Europe 2, the USA, obviously, and a number of experimental countries. So this is how we have it divided.
The main thing here is that you still maintain benchmarks for the entire cohort, even the one you sample.
We first apply our metric indicators of success to the entire cohort, then we break it down. We analyze this known piece separately. If there is enough data, we apply it to it, and separately apply it to the piece we sampled to see if there is an error. So far, there is no error. In our case, this method works, and these two components of one cohort show themselves uniformly.
Even if there is an error later, you can add some lever that will just average it out, adjust it.
We need to understand why it arose in the first place.
Well, I mean, when suddenly you have more organic traffic in one day, it will be harder to track.
With organic traffic, there will be another problem. Like if you have a lot of organic traffic and little performance, then your performance will be an error. If you have a lot of performance and little organic traffic, then your organic traffic will be an error. But as we have it now, we are in balance, everything is fine.
That's good. As long as no lever is needed, good. Thank you.
Dima, please tell me one of my last questions. The game is very interesting. The art is at a very high level. How do you test creatives? I think you also test them on Facebook, which makes sense. What do you think about misleading ads? Have you tried them because they are often used in this genre?
I'm thinking about how to answer you correctly. Actually, this is a question from my morning today. Just for you to understand, I spent several hours on it today. I have precise questions today. Yes, honestly. Look, creatives are undoubtedly important. We are somewhat lucky to have a best practice methodology. We literally calculate which creatives give us the best results based on 3 parameters. Unfortunately, these parameters are not in-game because it's quite difficult to track. Plus, we came to the conclusion that creatives don't really influence such things. We are looking at CTR, but CTR in terms of link click. That is, a click specifically on our app, on our product, and not somewhere else. Because on Facebook, there is a general CTR and a CTR that is link click. We are looking at how it performs in the Facebook rotator, that is, how many impressions Facebook gives us, for example. So if it's some kind of evergreen creative that Facebook just likes and gives a lot of impressions, we keep it running indefinitely. We have several creatives like that. There is one which mystery we cannot solve, we cannot replicate it. It just works. People try to copy it, but the copies don't work. This creative works. And actually, what else interesting are we looking at?
At mislead creatives.
Oh, you want to talk about mislead creatives? Well, let's talk about mislead creatives. Most of our creatives are not mislead. I'm telling you the honest truth. Most of our creatives are not mislead. We just have a lot of really good art. We have a lot of designers, a lot of various beautiful animals. And soon we will change the icon. We really want to put our girl with a pine cone there. I think it will be awesome. But practice shows that consistent creatives in terms of attracting traffic are very effective. But whether this traffic pays off and performs, and whether it brings money on par with the traffic purchased through normal creatives, I can't tell you. I still don't have a clear answer to this question. Because misleads work, you will buy traffic, there are no problems here, everything is okay, but how this traffic will behave, that's the question. Because there are certain significant suspicions regarding the quality of traffic that comes from misleads. At least for us, it's like that.
Zoryana and I attended a conference, and I liked one of the keynotes there. What Google told us is that the 2000s were the era of the internet, the 2010s were the era of mobile devices, and the 2020s are the era of AI. And the question is, are you currently using AI to generate creatives, and what's happening there?
Look, we actually have such a structure, not a single wonderful, magical, and very talented unit like designers. And we order creatives from them, and usually well, I can't say that AI generates them. AI makes small adjustments here and there. This is what AI is used for at most at the moment, but it is. There is interest in this direction, and there is a desire to try something there. But so far, we just haven't encountered it. We need to try all our creatives first. So we actually have so many visual graphic images and we create a new event with new visual graphic images. In fact, new creatives, new pictures that can also be used every month or every 2 months. And this will be contextual advertising, a contextual event that takes place in the game. Therefore, maybe we just didn't have such a need, I can't say. For now, AI performs some minor adjustments.
Well, additional functions. For example, if you need to generate a background for advertising, then of course sometimes it can be drawn. Or try some idea, a composition. But it's not completely pure AI generation or purely manual creatives. It's some kind of mix. In any case, we try to avoid these AI artifacts directly in advertising, because now it is often encountered. You go to Instagram, there's an ad, pineapples are growing, someone has 3 legs, something like that, and no one cares. We don't use such things yet as our conscience doesn't allow it.
So I'm not a marketing specialist, but here is my thought on misleads and everything else. You can generally spend on this without current profit, but with some conditional profit in the future, making these misleads a conditional market trend. It doesn't matter if some king is collecting something or this drill is running or eating fish. That is, these are 2 equal giants in terms of money, but both are misleading. So, misleads in such genres with this huge amount of money become trends. The question here is whether we have the opportunity to conquer or make our mislead a trend. Probably not. And in general, this assessment of misleads, well, again, from my experience from some of my previous practice, it seems that if there is no supergiant money, then probably it's not worth getting into this niche because they play completely differently. And here is the level of expectations and reality. I expect one thing, come to the game, get something completely different. So, a small remark.
All right, let's look at the creatives. Family Island. We see that most of the traffic is from the USA, which is probably the same for you. And it makes sense for such types of games. Mostly it's tier 1, sometimes I've seen Japan and Korea, but that traffic is purchased for specific creatives. And let's see where they buy it. This is the story on AppLovin, you see. Almost all purchases are 85%. There is a bit of Facebook, most likely some tests, tried somewhere in Mobi, TikTok. Moloko is even there. What is also interesting, again, for this genre of games, I often encounter playables. Playables work on networks. And you see here is the first creative that is at the top. This is exactly a playable. Then there are simple videos. Let's watch one of them. Everything is beautifully done. Everything is shown everywhere. There is a button with clicks to the store at the end of the video, which is also very interesting. And again, look, they added playable because they don't buy on AppLovin, and AppLovin mainly works only on playable. And if we take more time, not just to see if there were only other networks, yes, if we take a year. And here is already Facebook, a bit of Google. And they also tried, even Unity Wangle. You see, they were just probing which network would perform well for them. Let's move on to the second app. Regarding traffic, it's roughly the same set of countries. Let's see where they are buying.
In my understanding, it's an interesting mix. Look, they are following the trend. Well, fixing this window, yes, Playrix there.
100%. I was just about to say, this is Playrix, absolutely.
This is a Playrix trend, that's okay, but at the same time, I see a happy family from the Flintstones. It's some kind of mix. For some reason, when I watch Playrix creatives, I don't feel sorry for that girl because I've seen this creative 100 times, and the fact that the same man throws her out into the cold for the 100th time doesn't resonate with me anymore. But here I see, on the contrary, some creation where the trend is followed, but at the same time I don't feel pity, but I feel some kind of visual satisfaction. Oh, I did something, I built something. So, on such an emotional level.
Yes, undoubtedly for this genre, the concept of the creative itself is very, very important. And as we said, I saw that many guys use, including Mislead. Actually, that was it.
We just looked at Mislead because it's a hop and they have a farm in that sense.
So before moving on to competitors, creatives, knowing that they use Mislead, I asked you to see how different versions, so to speak, are perceived. Look, here we also have playables and regular videos, but I still see that videos with playables. Why? Because again, the main purchasing channel is AppLovin. From what I've seen, these kinds of games really work well with AppLovin. And I've also seen them on Moloko. And let's look at the Playrix game Township. Here they are similar to you. They work with Facebook. There is a bit of YouTube and just a bit of Moloko, AppLovin. They probably found and learned to work with it, which is important. Here too, there is a top creative, 2 million. Again, it's interesting where they use playable, probably something from the networks. Pay attention to the format of the creative and the difference in the creative. 2 minutes of this video, right? They made a mix in this video of everything they had, for example.
Hypercash, indeed, idle hypercash.
The fact is that super popular. There are a lot of these creatives spinning where you collect something, build something, and even the structure of the new creatives content, well, it's like that. It's from any idle collector about construction, about anything at all. That is, there are many soft objects on the scene that scatter, move around, you collect them, vacuum them up.
This is taken into account because there are certain models that trigger users. One of them is satisfy, and when you clean all this up, you get satisfaction from having cleaned it. This is one of the triggers. For example, publishers use models to develop creatives. These are manuals. There can be sexy, satisfy, enjoyable, casual, something like that, something of that kind. They create their own set, and when a task is assigned to a marketing artist, they must develop it considering all these concepts.
So I will add from myself that yes, the game is quite interesting, and as you can see, we have such games on the market and they are well purchased. They are purchased, I think they are a plus because it is clear that there are scales and networks are working. The fact that you have learned to work well with Facebook and are still learning is normal. I think it is possible to scale and try other networks.
I estimated, based on calculations, that for the keyword family farm in the US at the moment, to advance you need from $500 to $600. This is related to the fact that the top apps practically do not change their positions. They have been there for a long time, and firmly, and almost the entire top 10. That is, if they move by one position. The first two apps do not move at all. And with your low positions, you are currently in the 61st place, we will need to constantly promote it, which increases the cost. So we need to raise it, drag it to the top 10, and then only boost it to the top 3. $500 to $600, yes, you can enter.
Thank you for the response. Actually, it's only this year that we started thinking about ASO and trying to approach it more systematically. So this area is still, let's say, terra incognita for us. Specifically for this product, and now we are looking at what to do correctly, how to do it right, and where to go.
I want to summarize the marketing block. Don't buy at a loss, it's unprofitable. Buy at a profit, it's profitable, just in case you didn't know. Thank you.